The sun sunk its fiery teeth into Blaine, a quaint Minnesota town marinated in shadows and whispers. This was a place of stark dichotomies, where radiant picket fences stood sentinel over secrets buried deep in the frost-kissed earth, and the veneer of simplicity concealed the complexities festering beneath. In an unassuming corner of the town, nested amid a scatter of ink-stained papers and remnants of forgotten bylines, sat Peter Hastings, a relic of time, worn by the insatiable hands of news cycles, yet unbowed, his frame draped over the creaking chair, in a pose mirroring his relentless spirit. Peter's office was a veritable monument to his journalism journey. The ink-stained desk told tales of late-night reporting, and the dusty typewriter was a silent testament to his persistence. Flecks of silver peppered his dark hair, a physical manifestation of the passage of time, while his eyes, brown and inscrutable, were deep pools of curiosity. Haunted by the specter of poverty from his youth, he had an unsatiated hunger for truth, justice, and the smallest fragment of closure. His past hadn't made him bitter. Instead, it had endowed him with a generous spirit. It was this generous spirit that urged him to pursue the enigma that had descended on Blaine, the string of peculiar grave robberies. That night, in the flickering neon glow of the local bar, he wove his way through the drunken lullabies of the town's residents, hoping to extract whispers about the family crypt at the heart of it all. The crypt of the Vanderwoodsons, a symbol of unexplained wealth and an echo of his own painful past. The bar was always a reliable source of chatter and hushed rumors. Between the clinks of cheap beer mugs and over the stained oak counter, he began to glean the threads of the town's hidden narrative. There was the bartender, an old friend who spoke with his eyes, a barfly too lost in his ale to censor his loose tongue, and the mysterious lady in the corner, veiled by the shadows, with stories dancing at her fingertips. The Vanderwoodsons. Weird lot they were. The bartender, Sam, mused, polishing a grimy glass. Came from nothing, like most of us, then suddenly started rolling in wealth. Peter leaned in, his journalistic senses ignited. Did the town ever question it, Sam? We're a simple folk here, Peter, he said, his face a map of resigned acceptance. We don't meddle, but strange, ain't it? One day poor as dirt, next day richer than the Lord. Then the graves. Damn, I'd rather not think about it. The vision of the grand Vanderwoodson crypt loomed in Peter's mind as he left the bar, the echoes of his conversation with Sam amplifying the mystery. He was already knee-deep in this labyrinth, his past, his profession, and his relentless curiosity leading him further into the enigma. In the creeping shadows of the night, the Vanderwoodson crypt stood, a Gothic monstrosity with its stone guardians keeping watch. It was an uninviting edifice that held the answers he sought within its cold embrace. As he stared into the crypt's darkness, his spirit steeled for the journey ahead. His story, his obsession, was just beginning to unravel. The dawn unfurled its rosy fingers across Blaine as the remnants of the night were swept away. The quaint town seemed oblivious to the cryptic turmoil stirring within Peter Hastings. As the days bled into each other, the lines between the living and the dead, the normal and the abnormal, started to blur in his world. His mind became a battleground, and his waking hours, a relentless duel between his journalistic skepticism and the growing dread seated by the ominous Vanderwoodson crypt. As the sun painted its final strokes across the sky, he found himself gravitating towards the crypt, its grim allure pulling him like a moth drawn to a flickering flame. On stepping within its foreboding embrace, a chill ran down his spine, the cool granite under his touch seemingly pulsating with unseen life. The crypt, an ancient Goliath of stone and memory, whispered stories in his ears. Shadows stretched and danced on the walls, morphing into grotesque caricatures, teasing the edge of his sanity. His eyes, though seasoned by countless sleepless nights, flinched at the silent echoes of specters that seemed to linger in every crevice. Yet he pressed on, his persistent heart propelling him deeper into the heart of the crypt's mysteries. During these visits, the crypt appeared to come alive, revealing its spectral echoes. The eerie silence amplified the softest whisper, the faintest sigh, transforming them into ominous incantations. The crypt, once a cold symbol of death and wealth, was now a vibrant canvas of the spectral and the corporeal. In the heart of the town at the local library, he delved into the dust-laden history of the van der Woodsens. As his fingers traced the ink-stained pages of yellowing town records, his mind brimmed with speculations. A familiar face at the library, the elderly librarian Ms. Martha, was the keeper of the town's tales and secrets. "Ah, Peter," she'd croak, peering over her spectacles. "Digging into the van der Woodsens again? There's something about that family that doesn't sit right with me." And so the dialogues would flow, carried on the back of whispers and half-forgotten memories, stitching together the scattered pieces of the van der Woodsen puzzle. As the tendrils of twilight snaked around the town, Peter would return to his office, his mind awash with the spectral echoes of the crypt, the hushed dialogues, and the growing unease that nestled within his soul. But every night, in the womb of darkness, he'd find himself in the crypt's chilling embrace, its spectral echoes now spilling into his dreams. His visions grew clearer, the veil between reality and the beyond becoming thinner. And with each vision, the promise of a story too colossal for the human mind to fathom grew closer. He was no longer merely an observer of the mystery. He was becoming a part of it, a puppet ensnared in the strings of the van der Woodsen crypt's spectral ballet. His grip on reality, though firm as ever, showed the first signs of a tremor. In the ink-stained shadows, the spectral echoes resounded, growing louder, pulling him in deeper, and with a lingering chill, he was left to wonder. Was he uncovering the story, or was the story uncovering him? In the quiet theater of Blaine, the curtain rose on another act, cloaked in an aura of foreboding. Underneath the weight of countless secrets and hushed whispers, the town continued its steady rhythm, unaware of the dark symphony that brewed within Peter Hastings. The torment of his past, now echoed by the spectral manifestations, bound him in an inextricable bond with the van der Woodsen crypt. From the confines of his ink-stained office, he attempted to stitch together the frayed fragments of the van der Woodsen mystery. In a bid to weave coherence into the discordant notes of spectral echoes, he delved into the crypt's past, sifting through centuries of whispered lore and forgotten records. His investigation led him down forgotten paths of history and into the depths of the crypt, uncovering the murky narrative of the van der Woodsen's ascension to wealth. The truth, cloaked in a nebulous fog of suppositions, appeared to oscillate between the natural and the preternatural, between the realm of logic and the realm of cosmic horror. His old friend Sam grew concerned, his brows furrowing over tired eyes. "You've got that look, Peter, like you've seen a ghost or something worse. This ain't a story worth losing yourself over." But Peter was already falling, entwined in the crypt's spectral dance. His waking hours were laced with cryptic visions, and the abyss seemed to gaze back into him, its cosmic eye unblinking. Simultaneously, his exploration into van der Woodsen's labyrinthine history brought him to the doorstep of Mrs. Ethel, a frail woman whose lineage traced back to the crypt's owners. Mrs. Ethel, once a vibrant woman, was now a specter of her past, bound to the world by brittle threads of time and secrets. "Dark things, Peter. The van der Woodsens. They meddled with dark things," she muttered through a mouthful of rotting memories, her gaze lost in the enigma of the bygone era. Peter stood at the precipice of the abyss, a lonely figure under the ominous gloam of the van der Woodsen crypt. His reality was fraying at the edges, slowly being swallowed by the otherworldly shadows that lurked in the corners of his mind. The narrative of Blaine began to weave itself into a cosmic tapestry of horror. The town was no longer just a backdrop. It had transformed into a silent antagonist, its secrets pulsating with the crypt's heartbeat, its whispers echoing the crypt's spectral ballad. The crypt, no longer just a stone mausoleum, was a cosmic entity in itself, a gaping mouth of the abyss, whispering secrets and threatening to swallow him whole. As he stood at the threshold, staring into the silent gloom of the crypt, he found himself not only looking into the abyss, but the abyss gazing back, whispering its ancient, dreadful hymn into his soul. Blaine was a slumbering beast, cloaked in the velvet of the twilight, and the clock was ticking its final hour before the inevitable embrace. Peter Hastings, once a mere spectator in the grand cosmic theater, was now the lead act. He had stared long enough into the abyss, and the abyss was ready to claim him. His office, once a haven of journalistic pursuits, lay untouched, abandoned like a forsaken shrine. The only testament to his existence was the incomplete piece on the von der Woodsen crypt, the words growing stale on the parchment, echoing the silent dread he was plunging into. The crypt had become an insatiable entity, its pull on him growing stronger with every spectral echo. It was no longer just a monument of stone and morbid memories. It was a portal, a bridge between his reality and the cosmic horror that lay beyond. One day, under the weary gaze of the waning sun, Peter found himself at the crypt's threshold yet again, a silhouette against the backdrop of the creeping shadows. His heart pounded a dreadful rhythm, his veins pulsated with a mix of fear and anticipation. His conversation with Mrs. Ethel, her words heavy with age and unspoken horrors, played like a broken record in his mind. The van der Woodsens. They meddled with dark things, Peter. But her warning fell on deaf ears, drowned by the crypt's haunting serenade. As he plunged into the crypt's foreboding embrace, his world started to warp and distort. The familiar interior of the crypt stretched and twisted into a grotesque caricature of reality, the spectral echoes intensifying into a deafening crescendo. The crypt morphed into a cosmic cathedral of ancient horror, a testament to powers beyond mortal comprehension. The cryptic visions that haunted his dreams now spilled into his reality, taking form within the spectral echoes chorus. The cosmic entity within it acknowledged him. His courage, his resilience, and his insatiable thirst for the truth had not gone unnoticed. In the grand theater of cosmic horror, Peter had secured his role, not as a mere mortal caught in the web of circumstances, but as a conscious entity, a part of the cosmic choir. He was enveloped in an onslaught of spectral light, his senses overwhelmed by the symphony of the unknown. His consciousness expanded, resonating with the entity, forming a terrifying unity that transcended the shackles of human understanding. The inevitable embrace was not a surrender, but a merge, a joining of spirits of an ink-stained journalist and an ageless cosmic horror. He had become more than a man, more than a hero. He had become a part of the eternal dance of the cosmos. Back in Blaine, life went on. The sun rose and set, the wind whispered through the empty streets, and the van der Woodsen crypt remained, silent and foreboding. Yet every once in a while, a passerby might feel an inexplicable chill, an eerie sensation of being watched, of an abyss gazing back. Peter Hastings' story was etched into the very fabric of Blaine, his spirit resonating with the spectral echoes of the crypt. The town was left with an incomplete story, an unfinished article, and an eerily silent crypt. Yet within the cosmic horror's embrace, Peter had found his place, not as a victim of circumstances, but as a willing participant in the cosmic ballet. His story didn't end, but rather transcended, leaving behind ink-stained shadows and an echo of an inevitable embrace. We appreciate you tuning in. If you fancied the content, show your support with a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to keep up with our eerie adventures. Eldritch Tales Factory has plenty more to offer. Until next time.